It's your boy, the Akademiks, and listen here, man, because are you living the life now that you'd like to be remembered for in death? Are you? The excuse of ignorance, right? Ain't no excuse no more. There used to be an excuse like, yo, he's just too young, he's a child. That's proven to be absolutely fucking bullshit. Now everybody's exposed to the internet. It's the job of the parents to curtail what their kids get into. You let your kids get into fuckery, you know what will happen. Because you see, man, right, in the Bronx, New York, there's a 7th grade kid. His name is Christopher Duran. He was 14. He got gunned down. Now, the New York Post isn't showing a story of an innocent kid getting killed, and they're covering it extensively. Well, and you're like, why not? Well, why aren't they doing that, right? He's 14. He got shot point blank range, executed. One shot to the neck, and then the shooter stood over him and finished him off. While he was dying, he screamed out, "Mama." Why isn't the news saying this is a tragedy? Now, the reason is because of a life they say he chose. Now, New York media outlets, they're covering this 14-year-old death who got executed. He got executed. And they're covering it saying this is what happens when you choose a life of coonery and a life of gangs, okay? Now, law enforcement, they're saying, and everyone who made a comment or gave a statement about the kid, from the New York Post perspective, and I'm not making this up, this is what the New York Post is saying. Nobody had nothing positive to say. Law enforcement sources says, well, he was a gangbanger. Another woman who passed the crime scene says, well, he terrorized the neighborhood. Another neighbor said, Christopher is no good. A man says, I saw him fighting last summer in the street. Now, unbeknownst to you and me, this 14-year-old claims he was gangbanging. Now, was he gangbanging? We don't know. There's a number of pictures on his Facebook, his Instagram, where he's throwing up signs that are actually related to real gangs. Now, police say they believe he was involved, but they're not even sure. Because here's the thing. They said these days, people throw up gang signs for gangs they're not even really in. And we all know that way too familiar, right? We all know that people love claiming gangs. Right now, everybody's claiming a gang. We have Chris Brown swearing he's a gang member, right? Maybe he is, but he's swearing he is, and people are saying being a gang got to be cool. Gang, gang, squad, squad. Now, Christopher, he was walking to school or walking from school with his brother when the killer, who had been lying in wait with a lookout posted down the block, pulled out a gun, shot him in the neck. He fell, stood over him, then killed him. The entire thing was caught on tape. There were surveillance cameras there, caught the entire thing on tape. Okay, the police are describing the killer that he was wearing a bandana, and the bandana signified that he was of the opposite gang. Pretty much the ops caught him lacking. Now, there's a dozen photos of the boy putting up gang signs before his death. He also put up a gun with an extended magazine on his Facebook to show people, yo, he's not lacking. And people believe he was entrenched into this gang warfare. Now, his uncle, he disputes he was ever in a gang, okay? He didn't really have any comments for why he was throwing up gang signs, nor why he had guns and other things posted on his Instagram. He just says he wasn't in a gang. So we don't know who to believe. But this is one thing we're not blind about. He was definitely throwing up signs. We're not sure if he was in a gang, but he was definitely throwing up signs. He was definitely just not a kid minding his own business. And because of that, that might have contributed to his death. Now, some people are saying, well, they don't like how the New York Post is like covering the story because they're saying he's just a child. But these days, man, kids are being recruited to get down with these gangs, man, and they're really conscious enough to make their own decisions. 14 might sound really young to you, but they are making conscious decisions to get in this type of life. And the problem is people aren't showing them an accurate representation of the side effects and the consequences when you do get into that life. When you get into that life, especially at a young age, and you're really not about that life, this is what happens. It shouldn't be a surprise. This is what happens. So, listen, man, what do you guys think about this situation? It's a very sad situation. I looked endlessly for places covering this boy's death. None of them painted it as somebody who got gunned down senseless. Everybody painted it as a gang rivalry and a revenge shooting. What do you guys think? You guys could go look it up. I'm not making it up. His name is Christopher Duran, Bronx, New York. He got killed, but they're saying he's a gang member. And because he's a gang member, the police got a hands-off approach like, well, The gangs are going to take care of themselves as long as they're not killing innocent people or people not in the gang. We ain't got to worry about it too much. Now we got the video of the guy who did the killing. We could go pick him up, or maybe by the time we get to him, he might be dead. Get in the comment box. It's your boy DJ Akademiks, man. Listen, it's a wake-up call. I see a lot of people. They love screaming out some gang shit in the comments. I know some people are like 16, 17. But you do that in real life. There's consequences. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, definitely subscribe. I'm out.